Okay, I'm going to take you guys on a journey today. And like all journeys in life, there's going to be ups and downs, highs and lows. You're going to like certain parts and dislike other parts. In other words, you will love me and hate me today all at once. But if you listen with an open mind, I promise at the end of the speech, the love will outweigh the hate. The first 30 minutes will be very intense. I'm going to make you feel angry, frustrated, and guilty. Fortunately, the last 15 minutes will be like a comedy roast, so we're going to laugh and giggle. You guys are getting roasted, by the way. So I am going to speak for around 45 minutes, and then we'll do a Q&A session after, so hold your questions until the end. Right now, I want you to think about how you would feel if the moment you were born, someone else had already planned the day of your execution. Because that's what it's like to be a cow, a pig, a chicken, or a turkey on this planet. They're not born free. They're born to be murdered, even though freedom is supposed to be a birthright, a God-given right. I mean, no God would be a slave master, a torturer, and a killer of his animals, his babies. If he was, then he wouldn't be God. He'd be the devil. If that statement shocks you or brings up feelings of animosity towards me, the problem isn't with me and what I've just said. The problem is that humans have victimized animals to such a degree that they aren't even considered victims. They aren't even considered at all. They're nothing. They don't count. They don't matter. They're commodities like TV sets and cell phones. We've actually turned animals into inanimate objects, sandwiches and shoes. It is the greatest magic trick ever performed, the animation switch. And besides the money made from selling their flesh and skin and the things that come out of their bodies, there's not even decent value on them as inanimate objects. The American flag, for example, which is nothing but a piece of fabric. The Bible, which is nothing but a book comprised of ink and paper, stir up more emotions than the murder of animals. If there were a barbecue near campus today, if people were cooking up steaks and hamburgers, man, there'd be a party. People would actually celebrate the cow who was killed, the person who killed the cow, and the chef that seasoned her dead body. But if someone poured gasoline on the flag or a Bible, struck a match and set it on fire, Lord have mercy. There'd be an angry mob ready to kill somebody. These lifeless, inanimate objects, the flag and the Bible, are more sacred than animals, living, feeling, breathing beings. Animals are victims, the most oppressed ever. And if you're having a tough time grasping this fact, maybe it's because the only time you ever come into contact with cows and chickens and turkeys is when they're cut up and cooked on your dinner table. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gary Yourofsky. I'm a vegan animal liberation activist. I'm not a politician, and I'm not a salesperson. That means I got no lies to tell you and no books and no DVDs to sell you. Before I continue, I want to define the word vegan for everybody, V-E-G-A-N. Vegans, just like vegetarians, do not consume the meat of any land or marine animal. Vegans, however, unlike vegetarians, also refrain from eating cheese, milk, eggs, honey, any animal product whatsoever. We also don't wear animal skin. No fur, leather, wool, silk, or down. I want to let you know that I was not raised vegan. I ate meat, cheese, milk, and eggs for around 25 years. And like most people, I always thought that I cared about animals because I loved dogs and cats, or chipmunks and squirrels. Until one day, after seeing some animals backstage at a circus, chained up and caged up, I not only realized that I was witnessing a slave show, I realized I was a hypocrite, a bigot, a speciesist. Just like a racist who believes that their race is more special and more important than all the other races, a speciesist believes that humans are more special and more important than all the animals, and therefore have the right to enslave and kill any species they choose. But if you honestly place yourself in the animal's position, looking at this issue from the victim's point of view, being denied your freedom and the right to live a long, healthy life, and then imagine yourself confined in a concentration camp truck on your way to a slaughterhouse so someone could slice your throat and cut you up into pieces, I'm pretty sure you would understand why the psychotic addictions of meat, cheese, milk, and eggs must be abolished. If you eat animals and the things that come out of animals, you are intentionally causing pain and suffering and polluting your soul with the blood of innocent beings. Humanity's main focus should always be extending compassion to others, not engaging in rituals and traditions that are based on cruelty. There's a massacre taking place right now. It's the world's largest and longest running massacre of all time, because every second of every minute of every hour of every day, female animals are raped to impregnate them so we can steal their babies, separate families from each other so we can kill them and sell their flesh and skin. If that's not the definition of injustice, of an atrocity, then I'd like to know what is. You do realize that if you went to the nearest cow or chicken slaughterhouse and removed the animals and then replaced them with human beings, all of a sudden it's a tragedy. Auschwitz is resurrected. Slave ships sail again. And don't think I'm the first person to make these valid comparisons. Civil rights activist Dick Gregory once said, "When I look at animals held captive by circuses, I think of slavery. Animals and circuses represent domination and oppression. They wear the same chains and shackles." Isaac Bashevis Singer, who escaped Nazi-occupied Poland, once condemned our speciesistic world when he said, what do they know? All these scholars, all these philosophers, all the leaders of the world, they have convinced themselves that man, the worst transgressor of all the species, is the crown of creation. And all the animals were made for us to be food and pelts, to be tormented and exterminated. In relation to animals, all humans are Nazis. For the animals, it is an eternal Treblinka. Now, I know these statements sound pretty harsh and controversial to you, but that doesn't mean they aren't true. The fact that anyone would fight against veganism, against animal liberation, which means you are against compassion, just proves how completely irrational meat, dairy, and egg eaters can be. Vegans are only asking you to change what you eat, not who you are. Stay Jewish, Christian, or Catholic. Stay Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, atheist, agnostic. Stay left or right in politics. If you honestly place yourself in the animal's position, there's no way you can justify the things that we do to them and walk away from today's speech saying that you don't care. The ethical compass that most people use to gauge right from wrong is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Since no one in this room wants to be treated the way we treat cows and pigs and chickens and turkeys and fish, There's no need to search for an excuse today not to be vegan. 60 billion land animals, 90 billion marine animals are killed every year on this planet for a sandwich, for addictions of greed and gluttony. What kind of society justifies mass murder? Stop thinking that animals aren't victims because they aren't human. It's the mindset of the victimizer that's wrong, and this is what needs to be examined and corrected because it never changes no matter who the victim is. Have you noticed it always goes something like this? No, you don't count. No, you don't matter. No, I'm more important than you. No, I laugh at the suffering I inflict on you. I'll kill you and your family whenever I want, however I want. Prove to me why I should be kind to you. It is not your right to deny someone else their freedom and their rights, so you can harm them, enslave them, and kill them. That's not what rights are about. That's injustice. There is no counter-argument to veganism. Accept it. You can't be right all the time. Apologize for the way you've been living, make amends, and evolve. Move forward. Now, all throughout history, there's a pretty good reason why most people, most good people, have always been on the wrong side of what's right. And that's because the truth has never been accepted overnight. It always has to pass through 3 stages. First, it is mocked and ridiculed. Yeah, people always make fun of something they don't understand, especially when it involves being kind to someone else. Second stage, denial and violent opposition. People refuse to believe there's an atrocity taking place, and they fight tooth and nail to keep the status quo as is. Third stage, acceptance. There is no longer need to explain it because we all get it. Now, unfortunately, it usually takes hundreds, sometimes thousands of years for the truth to pass through these stages. I'm going to try and do it today in around 45 minutes. And in order for the truth to be accepted and understood, we do have to witness the atrocities. The 5.5-minute video we're about to watch, that footage was taken throughout America, Britain, and Israel. And if you feel the need to turn away or close your eyes during this video, you should probably ask yourself a question. If it's not good enough for my eyes, then why is it good enough for my stomach? And before I press play, I have to say something about all this humane meat, humane milk, humane eggs bullshit that's going on in our society right now. That stuff does not exist under any circumstances whatsoever, even when animals reside in cage-free, free-range, grass-fed, local, organic, antibiotic-free facilities. By definition alone, slavery and slaughter are radically cruel and can never be humane. So don't be so gullible with slick marketing ads that want to convince you that animals enjoy being on the menu, as if they're all saying, hey, stab me! Yeah, kill me! Sure, take everything from me, because that's why I'm here, just for you. And if for some reason my aforesaid words in this video we're about to watch aren't proof enough of the terrorism claims that I am hurling at the meat, dairy, and egg industries, maybe the dismembered bodies of 150 billion animals annually could count as proof. I am forever embarrassed to be a human being, to stand upright like that's something to be proud of. Did you ever wonder why McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's never use those images in their TV ads? No severed heads, dismembered limbs, corpses, blood, guts. Always showing you a happy, singing, smiling cartoon caricature instead. Lying to you, brainwashing you, and programming you not to care about things you would normally care about, things that you used to care about when you were young, innocent, and uncorrupted by society's lies. So how come if the animals in that video were dogs and cats, people would be outraged? And if they were kids, the world would scream bloody murder. Instead, the victims are cows and chickens and fish, and all of a sudden it's okay. So I am a little confused here. Is the slaughterhouse the problem? Or is the problem just who's getting killed in the slaughterhouse? Because it's a house of slaughter. Why does it even exist? Especially when peace begins at the dinner table, with what you put into your body on a daily basis. Good people don't talk about kindness. They practice it. And they certainly don't pray about love on the weekends for an hour or two. They actually give it all the time. I know you have the capability of understanding right from wrong because you all hate people who harm children. Why not hate people who harm animals? It's hypocritical. Why protect one victim and then violate and ignore the other victim when neither victim wants nor deserves the abuse? They just wish it would end. Stop praising the innocence in children and then ignoring and making fun of the exact same innocence in the animals. And everyone has to stop making these idiotic claims that humans are the only ones who are capable of being rational and aware, and that animals operate on instinct only. Can I explain something to everybody in a pretty simple way? Breathing is instinctive. Everything else is a thought attached to an action. It's not an accident that animals can build a home if given a chance and return to that home. If they can care for their babies, if they could find shade on a sunny day or seek warmth when it's cold, figure out when to sleep or stay awake, locate water to drink, fly in a V formation, hide when they don't want to be seen, defend their territories. All these actions prove beyond a reasonable doubt that animals have the capacity of being rational and aware. The human animal is the only animal that spends the majority of time not thinking. Eating at Steak and Shake in the Golden Corral and Applebee's at Long John Silver's is not rational thought. But this isn't a competition of intelligence or awareness. This is about justice. When we were kids, each and every single one of us, when our parents or our grandparents sat us down and read us a story, that story was about animals. And when that story was read to us, we smiled and giggled uncontrollably. We even mimicked the noises they made, their language. We wanted to play with them so badly and have someone shove a knife in their throat and cut them up into pieces. What happened to you along the way? Who stole your compassion, your empathy, and your conscience? Because they stole mine too. Yeah, they got me good. But I got it all back. And that's the only reason I'm here today, to try to help you get yours back as well. All I'm asking you to do is something normal and natural. Eat what comes from the earth, what the ground pushes up and what the trees drop down and give us. Every single vitamin, mineral, and nutrient that exists, protein, calcium, iron, potassium, all the B vitamins, they have an original source, and it ain't the animals. And I know you're aware that people eat animals after the animals have already eaten things that come from the earth. People eat cows after the cows have eaten up all the grass, some of the soil, then we ship them off to a feedlot, and we feed them most of our corn, wheat, oats and soy. Then we take even more of the corn, the wheat, the oats, and the soy. We shove it down the throats of pigs, chickens, and turkeys. Stop filtering your nutrients through someone else's body. It's irrational. Go to those sources directly. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, legumes like lentils. These things cannot harm you, cannot cause a disease, and most importantly, they never intentionally harm anyone else in the process. But when we consume what walks and what flies and what swims, that is abnormal. Where does everybody think diseases come from? Broccoli? Asparagus? Blueberries? Strawberries? Peaches, nectarines, grapes, bananas? Avocados, onions, tomatoes, cucumbers? And I'm well aware that many other factors can lead to a disease. Stress is an absolute killer. So is lack of exercise and lack of sleep and excessive amounts of empty, refined carbohydrates like white rice and white bread and sugar. But animal products, because of animal protein, remain the main cause of every major disease. Check out the All About Veganism section on my adapt.org website. I now have links to more than 50 medical studies proving that veganism by far is the healthiest way to live. And let me destroy these lies about B12 and the hereditary factor for disease. Now first, B12 comes from bacteria that live in our mouth and intestines. That bacteria also exists in the mouth and the intestines of all the animals and in the soil. So you can let your body produce B12 naturally, which is what we and the animals always do. Or you can eat some unwashed organic vegetables once in a while with some dirt still on them, like carrots and celery, and get all the B12 you will ever need. If you check out the vitamin section on my website, I have links to 3 essays written by doctors, including John McDougall, one of the world's top medical professionals, who states that vegans have a less than 1 in a million chance of ever developing a disease from a B12 deficiency. You can also see my blood work in that section, because I got tired of people saying stuff to me over the years like, "Hey, Yourofsky, bet you got no B12 levels. You've been vegan way too long. I bet your B12 levels suck." So in October 2012, I went and got everything tested. Your B12 level's supposed to be between 271 and 870. I checked in at 543. At that time, 16 years vegan. Now 17 years vegan. Still haven't taken one single pill. Because I don't believe you can find health in a pill. But with this being said, if you decide you want to become vegan today, and I hope everybody does, and your parents or your doctor insist that you take a B12 supplement, then do it. Who gives a shit? It takes 2 seconds. I'm not an anti-vitamin activist. I'm an anti-cruelty to animals activist. I'm just trying to give you some good information so you can save yourself $25 on a bottle of pills that you don't even need. And the other myth is that we can't do anything about our health because it's already programmed into our genes. Hey, Gary, that was a great speech, man, but heart disease runs in my family. Breast cancer keeps running in my family. Nonsense. Don't you know what runs in people's families? You should by now. Meat, cheese, milk, and eggs. It doesn't count as hereditary when our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents ate the same disgusting, unhealthy things that we still eat. Actually, that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and always expecting a different result. Baldness is hereditary. You can thank your mom's dad for that. Eye color is in the genes. Cystic fibrosis, Down syndrome, that's in the genes. Heart disease and cancers are not. Now, I want to break this down for you even further. I'm going to show you exactly who's been lying to you all these years. Because according to the dairy industry itself, the main reasons they exist are so you can get protein and calcium. Now, unless you plan on starving yourself to death, which I do not recommend, it's impossible not to get protein. You couldn't even do it if you tried, because every single plant on this planet contains protein. Even fruit is around 5% protein. Vegetables have plenty of protein. Nuts and seeds and grains. Beans and lentils, by the way, 25% protein. 1 cup of tempeh. Tempeh is a meaty-like substance made from fermented soy. 1 cup has more than 30 grams of protein. And the seaweed spirulina, 79% protein. So again, unless you're planning on a starvation diet, it's impossible not to get your protein intake for the day. As for calcium, which is abundant in the plant kingdom, like every nutrient that exists, that's where nutrients come from. Plants, not from the animals. Best sources of calcium, by the way, are almonds, broccoli, parsley, and sea vegetables, seaweed. But check out that vitamin section on my website. I now have a detailed list of the best sources for more than 100 nutrients. But the dairy industry, boy, they love to say, eat some cheese, drink some cow's milk, strong bones, strong body. Milk does a body good. Happy cows, got milk. Most people eat dairy products 3 times a day. I mean, you can't even get a sandwich anymore without cheese. People put cheese and meat on salads too. And by the way, if you're eating a salad with meat and cheese on it, it's not a salad. Stop that shit. It's a sandwich without the bread, all chopped up in little pieces put inside of a bowl. Spare me the chicken salad, tuna salad crap. A salad is comprised of vegetables and plant products only. And if you're lucky enough to find this vegetable-only salad somewhere, what's the first thing people have to say to the waiter like an addict? Yeah, hey, can I get some ranch or some Thousand Island? Can you please pour some dairy all over these vegetables for me? So, in our society, where everybody is hooked on dairy, I mean hooked like it's been laced with cocaine and Percocet, most people can't even fathom one meal, let alone one day or a lifetime without cheese. In fact, if you want to know why vegetarians never become vegans, cheese on a baked potato, cheese on a broccoli, cheese on everything inside. Even lactose intolerant people eat cheese. So, we have all these animal products coming into our diets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day without exception. Snacks too. Did you ever wonder why nearly every other commercial on TV has something to do with pills and illnesses? And why our parents and grandparents have to take multivitamins every day? And why there's a drugstore on every street corner pushing vitamins and pharmaceuticals on everybody. After all, we do live in a meat, dairy, and egg-eating world. Yeah, they may be people need pills and people become sick because meat, cheese, milk, and eggs are pure and utter garbage with very little to no nutritional value whatsoever. And let me mention something quickly about the environment and world hunger. Because a lot of people keep telling me that they care more about humans than animals, so they can never become vegan. As if eating some tofu today instead of a hamburger is going to mess up your human rights activities for the day. This is especially puzzling to me in many ways, but mainly because meat, dairy, and egg-eating societies are the main cause of world hunger, as they continuously feed 50% of the world's crops. Back to the 60 billion land animals that we kill in the meat, dairy, and egg industries every year, and the tens of billions of marine animals that we kill on fish farms every year, instead of using those crops to feed 7.5 billion people. You can do the math on this one yourself. You don't have to be Einstein to figure out this equation. Every 2 to 3 seconds, some human on this planet dies from starvation. That's a fact. Here's another fact. Chickens, turkeys, pigs, and cows, they never miss a meal. Meat, dairy, and egg eating is the worst form of human and animal abuse. And when it comes to pure environmental destruction, air pollution, water pollution, deforestation, nothing competes with animal agriculture. There is no such thing as a meat, dairy, or egg-eating environmentalist. But check out the 2 environmental sections on my website for more detailed info on that, because I want to spend a little more time right now condemning the dairy industry. Because when it comes to cruelty, I think there's more cruelty in a piece of cheese in a glass of milk, in yogurt, than there is in meat. First of all, most hamburger meat comes from the dairy industry. When cows can't produce huge amounts of milk after 3 to 7 years, slaughterhouse. If given a chance, God forbid, cows can live to be 18 to 25. And cows are like all female mammals. And listen, I don't mean to be speaking down anybody if that's how you're taking this. It's just that when I'm talking to addicts about their addictions, addicts have a tendency to become irrational and illogical. I know you understand this concept. You just never think about it when it comes to the animals. Female mammals can only produce and give milk during or after pregnancy. So once a year, every cow and every dairy farm is raped to impregnate her. Long steel device shoved in her vagina to inject her with bull semen. Or sometimes they just use a bare hand to do it. Got to get that milk flow going somehow. And later on, after she gives birth, her newborn baby is stolen away. A couple months later, they repeat the process all over again. One of the worst screams I have ever heard. And I've heard them all firsthand. I've been to slaughterhouses, vivisection labs, behind the scenes of every circus and rodeo that ever passed through Michigan. One of the worst screams I've ever heard, stealing newborn babies from their mothers. And why would they steal newborn babies from their moms? Well, the dairy industry can't have calves sucking up all that milk that was meant for them, when they'd rather sell it to you instead. Every time you have dairy, some calf does not. And mother cows make milk for one reason, for their babies. Case closed forever. No debate, no discussion, the jury is in. They certainly don't make milk for baby elephants and baby orangutans and baby hedgehogs, baby rabbits, baby rats, baby humans, adolescent humans, or adult humans. This body of ours has absolutely no need for cow milk, like it has absolutely no need for giraffe milk, and zebra milk, and rhinoceros milk, and hippopotamus milk, camel milk, goat milk, horse milk, pig milk, dog milk, or cat milk. The only milk that we ever need comes from our own mother, our species. That's it. And after the first few years of life, we never need one drop of milk ever again. But if you want to include some kind of milk in your diet like I do, it is finally time for some good news. Because I can see it on some of your faces. I can sense it in the room. You're like, damn, did you drive all the way from Michigan to New York to verbally abuse us? Lighten up, man. Actually, I came here today to show you what you've been missing. Because everyone's got those blinders on nice and tightly. Everything you like to eat and drink, the taste, the smell, and the texture, we got a vegan version for you. It's been veganized. There's soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, hemp milk, coconut milk, oat milk, hazelnut milk, sunflower milk, and flax milk. You can mimic the taste and texture of meat with tofu and tempeh and seitan. Plus, we got all those vegan meats made from plant products, not from chemicals. What about ethnic food? Middle Eastern food, falafel, tabbouleh, hummus, majedra, lentil soup. Asian food, stir-fried vegetables and tofu. Just remember, when ordering Asian dishes, always order those dishes without fish sauce added to it. Indian food, aloo gobi. It's cauliflower, potatoes, and curry. It's delicious. Chana masala, chickpeas, and tomatoes. Mexican food, rice and beans and guacamole. Italian food, pasta, spaghetti, and pizzas. Without cheese, unless you got a cool place in town, and New York has many that have vegan cheese on the menu. Ethiopian food, split peas and lentils. Check out my website for tips on what to eat and where to eat. I have a restaurant section, I have a recipe section, I have a veg shopping guide, and an athlete section too. And don't think I don't watch your faces when I'm up here. That's what I do when I'm preaching. I'm watching all your expressions. How come when I talk about tofu and pizzas without cheese, boy, catch a couple people in every classroom, start to wrinkle up their noses a little, eyes get a little wide and bulge and start glancing around the room with your friends like, tofu is this good crazy. Tempeh must be out of his mind. What the hell is seitan? Seitan, by the way, not Satan, seitan. It is wheat meat. It is meat that is made from wheat. So how come tofu and even fruits and veggies are considered gross to most people, but meat? Time to break meat down for everybody. You got 5 components to meat: blood, flesh, veins, muscles, and tendons. The cut-up corpse of a dismembered body? How does meat not qualify as disgusting and gross to everybody? How in the world is a liquid that oozes out of a cow's udder, a secretion that's loaded with pus that drips from an animal's body? How is this not considered gross? Oh, and let me tell you about the pus in the cow's milk. It'd be my pleasure. When you hook machines up to the udders of cows 3 times a day to suck them dry, those machines cause massive amounts of infections and irritations on the inside and outside of the udder. Then when you add all the bovine growth hormone and all the genetic engineering that's been done to a cow's body to make sure she produces huge amounts of milk, which always leads to another infection, the machine doesn't know what not to suck out. Pus and mucus and infections right into the milk. And yes, milk is pasteurized. But exactly when did pasteurization become a removal process? Last time I checked, it was a sanitation process, meaning you're only sanitizing pus. And if you want to look this up online, well, you don't think the dairy industry would ever use the word pus when they write about this problem in their own trade journals, do you? Now they're going to deceive you again. Look up the scientific term for pus: somatic cell count. SOMATIC. Oh, and let's talk about some other disgusting things that you guys love to eat. Did you know that the backside of a bird is called a cloaca? CLOACA. It was the opening scene in the video. You could pop that back in if you want to see it. It's one hole. It is one hole, but it serves many purposes. It's the poop hole. It's the pee hole. It's the vaginal fluid hole. And it's the hole where your omelets and scrambled eggs come from. Yeah, I remember back in the day, I used to love my scrambled eggs with shit sprinkles, urine splattering, goo juice all over it too, because you know when you crack that shell over the bowl, all those microscopic particles fly every which way. And if you guys think it's normal and natural to eat something that's been marinating in feces and urine for hours and hours, I got a brand new challenge for everybody. I always like to have a new challenge every single semester. This is the egg challenge. When you get home from school later today, I want you to go to the bathroom. Fill her up. Everything. Don't flush it up. Then I want you to stroll on over to the kitchen, open up the fridge, grab yourself an egg, take it back to the toilet. If you even have the courage to stick your hand in there and grab it back out, and you can wash it when you're done, bleach it, do whatever you want to it, are you still going to want to eat it? And that's your own shit. That's your waste. Now you're talking about a hen that you don't even know her butthole? And what about vomit? Come on, you guys love vomit. You adore some vomit in, on, and all over your food. Better give this one a pretty name. No one's going to want to buy and eat vomit unless we call it honey instead. Honey comes directly from a bee's stomach. It's regurgitated right through a bee's mouth. You can look that up with any wildlife biologist, but nobody wants to eat bee vomit nut Cheerios. We want honey nut Cheerios, so we lie to ourselves and play euphemism games. The standard diet of a meat, dairy, and egg eater is blood, flesh, veins, muscles, tendons, cow secretions, things that come out of a hen's ass, and bee vomit. And we're not done yet. I'm not going to let you off the hook that easily while I got you here today, because we top it all off, in my opinion, because every single year when people start cooking turkeys for the holidays, boy, people take a dead turkey, carve out a really big hole in that dead turkey's ass, take some stuffing, and shove it inside their dead empty ass, and use their little dead ass as an oven to bake some bread. Somebody else's dead, empty, bacteria-laden ass to make bread. Ass bread? And people think vegans are weird because we eat tofu? I tell people one of my favorite meals nowadays, yams and barley. Hook me up with some yams and barley for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and I'm a happy guy. I know how most people are, though. I tell them this and they're like, what? You just eat vegetables and grains for dinner? Yeah, I don't know, man. That's kind of weird. Okay. Well, somebody else's rib cage sitting on your plate, that's not weird. Severed legs, sliced up thighs, and mutilated breast on your plate isn't weird and doesn't make you think twice. Is bestiality weird anyway? Doing sexual things with animals? Because I used to think everybody thought so, but not even close, my meat, cheese, milk, egg-loving friends. Because you engage in carnivorous bestiality on a daily basis. Sometimes multiple times a day. You eat things that come out of a hen's ass and shove things into a turkey's ass. You eat breast, legs, and thighs, and then you pay somebody else to sexually molest a cow and squeeze her nipples for you so you can steal her milk? Man, you guys are obsessed with bird asses and cow tits. Enough already. Seriously? Is it possible to step into the 21st century and stop mimicking the behavior of cavemen and cave women? You got a choice today. When you leave this room, you can choose to become radically kind, to never intentionally harm another animal for breakfast, lunch, or dinner ever again. These animals have never violated you or taken advantage of you in any way. The least you can do is return the favor. Or stay radically cruel. Keep the status quo as is. Make sure animals have their babies stolen from them. Make sure their horns are cut off, beaks sliced off, testicles ripped out. Make sure they're raped. Make sure they never experience one drop of human kindness. And make sure there's a knife in their throat every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day, for eternity. I hope you make the right choice. Isn't it rough enough being an animal on this planet with us around? As we claim everything for us. The land is ours. We pollute the air, the water, destroy the forest and the mountains. Do we have to maximize the cruelty that they already endure by eating them on top of it all? You want to talk about pouring salt into somebody else's wounds? 98%, and I want to leave you with this stat, 98% of animals who are abused and killed on this planet are abused and killed by the meat, dairy, and egg industries. The least we can do is minimize the cruelty by living a vegan lifestyle. You guys have any questions? You want me to clarify something I said that makes no sense to you?
So, since you are saying that we shouldn't eat this meat and that we should care about all these other animals and all these great things, what do you think about animals that are in other species that do the same thing, such as lions, tigers, jaguars, wolves, panthers, hyenas, dogs, bears, and cats, as you just mentioned?
I don't like it one bit, and I'll be the first vegan activist on this planet to say this. To me, the only evolved species on this entire planet is the herbivore animal, the zebra, the antelope, the deer, the elephant, giraffe, rhinoceros, hippopotamus. Fortunately, 75% of animals on this planet are not killers. They're not carnivores and omnivores. They are herbivore animals. And I don't think we should be justifying human behavior based on lion behavior. It's awfully unfair. Have you noticed that meat, dairy, and egg eaters always want to say, hey, well, lions eat zebras, I can eat a cow. But lions do a lot of other things that we don't do. Why is that the only thing we want to imitate from them? Lions sleep outside naked. Have insects crawling all over their bodies and their orifices and all that stuff. They eat bloody raw flesh with blood dripping down their face. They go and see an animal, they chase it down and tackle it. When was the last time you were driving down, some country road, you saw some cows and stopped the car and said, hey man, I'm gonna jump that fence and go tackle that cow. Dig my jaw into that cow's abdomen and eat some blood and guts. We don't do anything they do. Okay, so I will make a promise though to everybody. Once my species stops murdering and committing genocides against billions of innocent beings on this planet, I will fly to the jungles of Tanzania and try to convince lions not to eat zebras. Okay, but that's not my focus. Because lions also don't claim to be created in the image of God. Lions also don't claim to make the claims that we, say that we know right from wrong. We're compassionate. We're civilized beings. As long as we make these claims of being civilized, of knowing right from wrong, I'm going to be in everyone's face saying, you got to go all the way with it. You can't pick and choose who to be kind to, which is something, as you've probably noticed throughout history, we love to do. Why do we always have to go to the table of peace year after year, decade after decade, and say, hey, can you let these black people free in America, please? No! Please, can you let them free and give them their equality? No! This goes on for 400 years, and then, the end it's like, can you please give us our freedom now? Maybe. We're talking about it. And then we end up doing it. Same thing with women. No, can't have your equality. Please, can we go to the same schools everyone goes to? Can we have a vote, in our government? No. Can we please have the same rights as men? Maybe. We're talking about it. And now we're doing it with homosexuals. Hey, can we have the right, please, to see our loved ones when they're dying in the hospital? No. Can we just have the same freedoms that all other married couples have? No! Please? Maybe. We're discussing it. Do we have to really discuss justice and equality over and over? Why do we remain the most brilliant species technologically, yet the stupidest one when it comes to ethics? We're on par with parasites. So all we do is oppress, harm, and torture and murder somebody else who doesn't look and act like everybody else in the majority. We need to focus on our behavior. This is unnatural. Okay? This is a massacre. This is the biggest Holocaust that has ever existed. The worst form of slavery that has ever existed. Number one business on this planet, by the way, since the beginning of time, animal slavery. Which is why this has been going on the longest. And if you ever wonder why we can't get along with each other, we've practiced all the atrocities on the animals first. That's why we're experts at killing each other, harming each other, oppressing each other, exploiting each other. We tested it out on the animals first, became masters at this. Speciesism, being a speciesist, this is the root of all hatred on this planet. The root of all evil. First form of hatred human beings are taught, kill the animal. Animal doesn't count. Or, depending on which part of the world you are in, certain animals count. In America, Western world, hey, dogs and cats are precious. Horses, okay, but screw those cows, those chickens, screw those turkeys, kill them, cut their beaks off, kill them while they're still alive. Those lobsters, boil them alive. You do some pretty horrible things just for a sandwich.
Yeah. In the vegan argument, is the suffering of plants not acknowledged?
No, it is not, because it's a ridiculous argument. That carrot, if I came in here, by the way, and talked about the broccoli holocaust, how long would I be allowed to speak? 5 seconds? 8 seconds? It's a really ridiculous argument. By the way, my best friend since I was 8 years old is still a non-vegan. And when he asked me, so what kind of arguments did they use this time? I said, well, they called me a carrot killer this time and a mushroom murderer. And he is forever embarrassed as a meat eater when people say the carrot stuff. But let me explain this in a couple ways. Number one, I think everybody should know a word, and if you don't, here's a new word for it. It's called sentient, S-E-N-T-I-E-N-T. Can also be pronounced sentient. That's having a central nervous system connected to a brain, connected to, your heart, your liver, your lungs. That means you feel pain, you experience joy and happiness. Animals and humans are sentient beings. Carrots, mushrooms, broccoli, these are insentient beings, incapable of suffering whatsoever. But a couple things I want you to think about. We talked about this during the speech. 50% of all the crops on this planet are set aside as animal feed. So if we truly were concerned about plants, we would destroy a lot less plants if we ate them directly instead of growing them all, destroying all this land to feed them to the 150 billion land animals on this planet every year. I got a quote on my website from a group called the Council for Science and Technology, and they stated in the 90s, it shocked the vegan world, by the way. This is a group of animal agriculture people. They said, with all the cropland in America alone, we could feed the planet twice over. But there has to be one stipulation. Everyone would have to be vegans. This is how much less land and less plants we can destroy if we just ate the stuff directly. And since we are herbivores, and I know this probably shocks people, everybody thinks we're omnivores and carnivores. There's nothing omnivorous, carnivorous about us in any way whatsoever. As herbivores, we need to eat what we were meant to eat, unless you guys know how to become a breatharian. let me know. We can live off the oxygen, but you need to eat what you were meant to eat. And real quickly about humans being herbivores, if your lower jaw goes from side to side in a grinding, chewing motion like this, 100% herbivore. If you were an omnivore or carnivore, your jaws can only go like this, up and down, vertically, rip and swallow. You have a dog or cat at home, watch them eat. There's no chewing and grinding. If you sweat through your pores on a hot day, you are 100% herbivore. If you were a carnivore and omnivore, you would pant to cool yourself down. No claws on the human hand. Claws are a trademark of the carnivore and the omnivore. The length of our intestines are somewhere between 7 to 13 times the length of our torso. It's a very long intestinal tract, the same length of all herbivore animal intestines on this planet. The length of the intestines on real meat eaters, lions, hyenas, jaguars, only 3 to 6 times the length of their torso. And I used to make a challenge back in the day, Brandon probably remembers this, that if you really think humans are naturally meat eaters, find a 2-year-old child, put that child in a crib with a bunny rabbit and an apple. If the child eats the bunny rabbit and plays with the apple, send me an email and I'll buy you a brand new car with a leather interior. And I'll buy you a steak sandwich too. Okay, we have 0 carnivorous instincts, 0 omnivorous instincts whatsoever when we're young, when we're born, when we're growing up. And about the plant thing, one more thing, I just put this on my website, by the way. It's coming around again. I noticed in the last 11 years of lecturing, some certain topics are hot for the public right now. All of a sudden, the last year, everyone's bringing up the plant argument again. Somebody must have said something on the radio. The plants are suffering. The plants are feeling pain. Here's something interesting. How come in the history of humankind, not one firefighter has ever ran into a house to rescue the plants? And don't say it's discriminatory, because animals are the most discriminated species on this planet, and there's still a protocol for rescuing them. Now, it's humans first, of course. We can get in the house and there's people in there, let's go save the human. And then if they come back out, they're like, okay, wait, my dog is in there, my dog. Okay, it's safe to go in. You've seen the pictures, the big hulking firefighters coming out, little puppy with a little oxygen mask. Oh, that's sweet. Even if it was safe for a third time to go back in, no firefighter's gonna make us, hey, I'm gonna go get the chrysanthemums, I'm gonna get the rhododendron, I'm gonna get the tomato and the basil plants, quick, somebody get my plants. And I want to be fair about this. I like plants, I do. I got 5 at home. Actually, I got more than that. I got 5 succulents and 3 cacti at home. I dig them. I watch them all the time. It's a little forest I got right on my counter. Okay, but when my plants die, and they've died over the years, you know what I do? I take them out of the bowl. I take them outside and I throw them outside. My dog Rex passed away January 24th, 2004. Still know the date. My father passed away October 29, 2009. Still know the date. I think about them every single day. Never think about my old succulents and the cactus that I once had. Completely different life forms. But check out my website. If you go to the All About Veganism section, I have a section entitled The Insipid Killing Plants Argument.
I was gonna say, so are you okay with people then feeding their household animals meat, or do you recommend a vegan diet for household animals?
I recommend a vegan diet, but I want to be clear about this. I am not here to turn your dogs and cats into vegans. That's not why I travel the country 7.5 months a year. That's not why I've been arrested 13 times and kicked out of 5 countries to convert dogs and cats into vegans. But if you change your life, not a bad idea to change the life of somebody else you truly care about. Rex, by the way, passed away when he was 15. He was a vegan last 9 years of his life when I found him, just like his daddy. And he was super healthy. 15 is a nice ripe old age. In fact, if you go to my website in the dog and cat section, the world's oldest dog by Guinness Book of World Records, a 27-year-old vegan dog from birth. It's great for them and it's great for us too. Now, here's why it's so great for them. That commercial dog food that we feed them, and all of it, I don't care what they're saying about it, it's natural. It's garbage. It's literally garbage. It's meat that's not fit for human consumption. It's recalled meat, E. coli, salmonella. Recalled vegetables, E. coli, salmonella. The last place you can sell something to that nobody wants to eat who's a human, sell to pet food people. So this is why it's always better for them. Now, dogs are pretty easy to turn into vegans. In fact, I rescued a dog over the summer, a Doyle. He's a 10-year-old lab, 85 pounds. You guys know bigger dogs have hip problems, dysplasia. When we got him, he couldn't jump on the bed. And he couldn't jump around outside. He wanted to play. He always loved to play fetch. They told us. We took him outside, and his old legs hurt. Less than 1 year Guess who's jumping around like a bunny rabbit on a vegan diet? Guess who's jumping up on the bed whenever he wants to? It's healing him, and it heals us too. You want to eradicate majority of all diseases? And listen, we got enough stress in life. Everyone's stressed out, right? Got enough problems going on, enough sugar and empty carbohydrates coming into our bodies. Why compound your problem, your risk for disease, by shoving things down your throat that don't belong in you? Meat, cheese, milk, and eggs.